It was the night of November 9th, 1989, when the world changed forever. Crowds gathered on both sides of the Berlin Wall, a symbol of the division between East and West Germany, as the most oppressive barrier in Europe was about to come down. But how did we get here? To understand the significance of that moment, we must look back at the political tensions, human stories and events that led to the dramatic fall of the Berlin Wall. Following the end of World War II in 1945, Germany was divided into two separate states: West Germany, the Federal Republic of Germany, controlled by the Democratic West, and East Germany, the German Democratic Republic, under Soviet communist influence. Berlin, the former capital of Germany, was also split, with West Berlin an enclave of democracy surrounded by East German territory. For years, the border between East and West Berlin remained porous, allowing citizens to move back and forth. However, as the communist regime in East Germany grew more oppressive and the economy deteriorated, millions of East Germans fled to West Germany in search of freedom and a better life. By the early 1960s, this mass exodus threatened the very stability of East Germany. In a desperate attempt to stop the flow of refugees, the East German government, with the support of the Soviet Union, began the construction of the Berlin Wall on August 13, 1961. What started as barbed wire and makeshift barricades quickly evolved into a concrete barrier that stretched for more than 100 miles, cutting off West Berlin from the surrounding East German territory. Families were separated, and the once vibrant city of Berlin became a symbol of the Cold War division between the capitalist West and the communist East. For nearly 3 decades, the Berlin Wall stood as a stark reminder of the Cold War. East Germans, under the control of a repressive regime, were cut off from the freedoms and prosperity enjoyed by their neighbors in the West. Over the years, many East Berliners made daring attempts to escape, often risking their lives to cross the heavily guarded border. Some dug tunnels, others swam across rivers, and some even tried to fly over the wall in hot air balloons. While some were successful, many were caught or shot by East German border guards, with over 100 people killed trying to escape. But by the late 1980s, cracks were starting to show in the Iron Curtain. The Soviet Union, under the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev, had begun to embrace reforms such as glasnost, which means openness, and perestroika, which means restructuring. These reforms signaled a shift away from the hardline communist policies of the past. These changes sparked hope across Eastern Europe, where citizens were growing increasingly dissatisfied with their governments. In East Germany, protests began to grow, particularly in the city of Leipzig, where weekly demonstrations against the government became known as the Monday demonstrations. The East German regime was under immense pressure, and by 1989 it was clear that change was coming. The East German leader Erich Honecker resigned in October 1989, and the new government sought to appease the growing unrest. Then came the pivotal night of November 9, 1989. The East German government, in an attempt to ease tensions, hastily announced that new travel regulations would allow citizens to apply for visas to cross the border into West Germany. However, due to miscommunication and confusion, a government spokesman mistakenly announced on live television that the border was open effective immediately. The news spread like wildfire, and thousands of East Berliners rushed to the border crossings. Overwhelmed and confused, the border guards, unsure of how to respond, eventually opened the gates. In a matter of hours, people from both sides of the wall flooded into the streets, celebrating and embracing in a moment of unbridled joy. The wall that had divided a city, a country, and the world for 28 years was finally coming down. Over the following days and weeks, Berliners began to tear down the wall, using hammers, chisels, and whatever tools they could find. The images of people smashing the wall, crying tears of joy, and crossing freely between East and West Berlin were broadcast around the world, symbolizing the end of an era. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the beginning of the end of the Cold War, and set the stage for the reunification of Germany, which would be formalized in October 1990. The fall of the Berlin Wall was more than just the physical destruction of a barrier. It represented the triumph of freedom over oppression. It signaled the collapse of Soviet influence in Eastern Europe and the beginning of a new era of hope, democracy, and unity in Europe. Today, remnants of the wall still stand as a reminder of the past, but Berlin is now a united city, a testament to the resilience of its people and their desire for freedom. The fall of the Berlin Wall remains one of the most powerful symbols of liberation and the human spirit's determination to overcome adversity.